So here are the facts. The number of people living in absolute poverty is lower, 1.7 million fewer people.
Well, imagine the shock for the Prime Minister when he finds out the number of people living in relative poverty has actually increased by 900,000 since 2010. That's almost a million.
We just have different numbers.
Clearly.
Again, as I just said, there are 1.7 million fewer people living in absolute poverty today than there were in 2010. That includes hundreds of thousands of children.
Well, according to latest government statistics, there were 4.2 million children living in poverty in the UK in 2021-22. That's a staggering 1 in 3 children. The number of children in food poverty has doubled in the last year. A new government figures show nearly 139,000 children are homeless in temporary accommodation. Another record high figure, and up 14% on last year. And from there it just gets worse. A shocking new report by UNICEF, that's the United Nations Children's Fund, has just ranked the UK as the worst amongst the world's richest countries in child poverty levels.
All I can tell you is I don't have the international comparisons.
It's just pathetic. A major new report from Joseph Rowntree Foundation has just found 1 million children in the UK experienced horrifying levels of destitution in 2022. That is the most extreme level of poverty, with families unable to meet their most basic needs of keeping warm, dry, clean and fed. Just think about that. 1 million children now living in destitute homes. It's an 88% rise since 2019.
I want to make sure that we can reduce economic inequality and spread opportunity, and I'm pleased that we are making progress on that.
Social mobility in this country is now at its worst in over 50 years. And never in living memory have families got so much poorer over a single parliament.
And we are reducing inequality, reducing poverty because of the actions of this government.
Seriously? A staggering 14 million people are now living in poverty. 14 million. 1 million adults can't even afford to eat every day. Millions now using food banks and going without heating. We've even seen GPs prescribing nutritional drinks to starving patients whilst thousands are being hospitalised with malnutrition.
What we can do is to continue to lift people out of poverty.
What planet is this Prime Minister living on? The number of people experiencing destitution in the UK has more than doubled in the last 5 years. It's more than doubled. Almost 4 million people experienced destitution in the UK last year. A staggering 61% rise since 2019.
So you have seen the report from the Trussle Trust that food bank demand in April to September this year was 16% higher than in the same period last year.
I haven't seen that report, and so I can't comment on it specifically.
Well, no one expects the Prime Minister to read every report, but not to even be briefed on that one is as shocking as the report itself.
And when it comes to children, no one wants any child to grow up in poverty, of course. And the best way to ensure that that doesn't happen is to ensure that that child is growing up in a home where their parents are working.
Not under this government. Thanks to a decade of wage stagnation, work does not provide a guarantee route out of poverty in this country. 42% of people on universal credit are now in work. A staggering 68% of working age adults in poverty live in a household where at least one adult is in work. A staggering 71% of children growing up in poverty now live in a household where at least one person works. And relative poverty rates amongst working households increased from 13% in 1997 to 17.4% in 2021. How about just once acknowledging the misery successive Conservative governments have inflicted on this country?
Well, I think what matters is action and what we're actually doing, and MIMS will completely maintain our relentless focus on improving the lives of disabled people.
Your government has literally just scrapped its dedicated Minister for Disabled People.
I haven't seen that report, and so I can't comment on it specifically.